Plans. The Trump administration announces a new COVID vaccine distribution plan. It means you could get the first shot faster, but will it be as effective? We break it down for you. Capitol chaos. The FBI announces hundreds of charges as a result of last week's riots, focusing on suspects who carried weapons and bombs and assaulted police officers. We have the very latest out of Washington.
It needs to be addressed that whatever happened, I doubt that this is going to be the end.
Through our kids' eyes, how one local school district is reacting to the Capitol riots and the message they want all students to hear tonight.
Female fans unite. More than ever, women are watching NFL games. How it's changing the game for advertisers and sports franchises alike.
And it's a redemption story of sorts, the letter from a local prison that caught my eye. You'll meet the inmate who wrote it and see what he did to help our community in the midst of the COVID pandemic.
I want people to never forget the impact that acts of kindness can have.
What's New starts right now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Hello again, Northeast Ohio, and welcome to our Tuesday edition of What's New. Thank you so much for making time with us. Alongside Betsy Kling, who is broadcasting from home, I'm Jay Crawford from our 3 News studios.
That's right, Jay, and we begin today with more information on the push to vaccinate Ohioans against COVID-19. More than 320,000 Ohioans have been vaccinated, but Governor Mike DeWine says there's still plenty more work to be done to save lives. DeWine announced that hospitals must finish vaccinating their workers by midnight Sunday. And then in the next week, the state will move forward to provide vaccinations for those 80 and older.
We have a total, counting hospitals, we have a total of about 800 providers who, beginning next week, will be making the vaccine available once they get it, making it available to those 80 years of age or older.
Well, DeWine says the next rollout will take some time to complete. Beginning on Thursday, the Ohio Department of Health will post information on their website on which providers will be getting the next vaccine rounds next week. Jay?
And Betsy, as Governor DeWine pushes ahead with plans here in Ohio, the federal government is now freeing up its reserve of vaccines to get it to the states. So what does that mean for us here in Ohio? Senior health correspondent Monica Robbins joins us now. Monica, good afternoon to you. This sounds, Monica, like it's good news.
Oh, it's great news, Jay. Yeah, but if Ohio is only getting about 100,000 doses next week, that is still a far cry from what is needed. I mean, that's not even going to cover 80-year-olds in Cuyahoga County. Now, the health departments are ready to start those mass vaccination efforts. UH is planning one next week, and Cuyahoga and Summit counties are also finishing up those people in the 1A groups, those frontline responders. The problem, they're telling me, is that they're not being told how much to expect so they can plan accordingly.
This vaccine is a precious resource, and we want to get it into arms as quickly as we can, but we don't exactly know how much we're going to get until it arrives.
You're going to throw together all these resources, and you might only get 100 doses, which you probably could have done appointment-based that would have been a lot more cost-effective. And so, without knowing the whole picture of what you're getting every week and what it's going to look like, it's very difficult to plan these large-scale operations.
So hopefully now that the states will be getting more vaccines, those answers will be coming, and at least we hope there will be some lead time for these facilities. But the big question is, how do you get one? Where do you sign up? Well, right now, the easiest thing you can do is go to your County Board of Health website. Many already have online sign up available, and you will be notified when it's your turn. Now, if you don't have a computer, you can access or ask someone to help you, or pick up the phone and give the health department a call. UH tells me their patients will be notified, but also keep checking their website because they too will have sign up available for anybody, even if you're a patient or not. And expect pharmacies to come online in the coming weeks as well. And what's really important, though, is that you don't miss your appointment, because if you do, you go to the end of the line. And Jay, just earlier, about 10 minutes ago, I just got a notification that the National Association of Retail Pharmacies is going to make an announcement tomorrow. They're having a press conference about how they will be getting involved. So your CVS's and your Walgreens will also soon, hopefully, be giving out those vaccines.
Well, that's great news. I know it'll make it a lot more convenient for many to get those vaccines. A big question here, Monica, is the second dose. We know that there are 2 shots that go along with this, and we've heard there's a time frame, about 3 weeks between shots. What happens if there's a backlog and they don't have that shot ready to go at that 3-week period? Do the people that got vaccinated with the first shot run a risk of not getting that second shot at 3 weeks?
Well, that's what we're hoping doesn't happen. And right now, Pfizer and Moderna say they do have the supply, and that shouldn't happen. Now, the UK is actually doing that in some cases where they're only giving people 1 shot. However, the FDA is advising against it because there is not enough research. Now, we do know that Pfizer's was tested up to 12 weeks apart, but health officials say it's just best to follow the guidelines right now. And though the manufacturers, again, they're saying they will have enough supply for everybody, it's just going to be a wait and see. But when you do make your appointment to get your first dose, they are scheduling those second doses at the same time.
Well, hopefully the vaccines can keep up with the appointments. Monica, great information. Thank you. We appreciate it. Right now, let's take a look at our daily coronavirus numbers. The state reporting 7,981 new cases. That's a slight jump from yesterday's numbers. Looking at our other key data points, we saw a slight uptick in our daily positivity rate. That now stands at 13.2%. Hospitalizations are down for the 6th time in the last 7 days, so that's certainly trending in the right direction, down 46 today, leaving just over 4,000 COVID-19 patients in Ohio hospitals. Sadly, though, the state of Ohio reported 100 more deaths related to COVID-19.
Well, let's switch it up and get you caught up with the 3 biggest developments after last week's U.S. Capitol riots. Later tonight, the House will consider a resolution that calls on Vice President Mike Pence to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove President Trump from office before January 20th. Depending on tonight's outcome, they plan to vote on an impeachment measure Wednesday morning. Meanwhile, President Trump spoke to reporters for the first time since the riots. He said he doesn't want any violence, and the impeachment proceedings against him are, quote, causing tremendous danger to our country.
As far as this is concerned, we want no violence, never violence. We want absolutely no violence. And on the impeachment, it's really a continuation of the greatest witch hunt in the history of politics.
When asked about his role in what happened at the Capitol last week, he said that his speech that day was totally appropriate. And late this afternoon, the FBI and Justice Department gave an update on charges related to last week's riots. The FBI says it's opened at least 160 cases in the last 6 days. The agency is still working on arrests and charges.
To be clear, the brutality the American people watched with shock and disbelief on the 6th will not be tolerated by the FBI. The men and women of the FBI will leave no stone unturned in this investigation.
The agency is searching thousands of pieces of digital media. The U.S. Attorney Michael Sherwin said the grounds outside of the U.S. Capitol are still considered a crime scene at this hour. Well, the riots at the Capitol sparked conversations nationwide.
A local school district made time for middle and high school students to listen to a panel of black students speak out on how all of this impacted them. Here's Romney Smith.
The Shaker Heights school system has had year-round efforts discussing race for decades, but today's district-wide panel was focused on the chaos at the Capitol.
That we as adults and educators provide safe and constructive spaces for students to engage in talking about what they're seeing.
Some students had questions.
What they would have done if Black Lives Matter would have stormed the Capitol.
Others had answers.
If it was Black Lives Matter who marched on Capitol, it would be a lot more than 4 bodies that were dead.
All students noted the difference in how mostly white crowds were treated compared to mostly black crowds this summer. The lack of police, the perceived lack of consequences, and what it says about how we react to large gatherings of different races.
My classmates who are not Black, they had like a general response that they were sad by it and disappointed. But I feel like since it's like hitting my community the hardest, I feel like there is a difference.
They also say schools can't shy away from topics that are uncomfortable because it can be a teaching moment for all.
Teach about like what's happening more in the current events, as well as like things that have happened in the past.
This was not a one-time conversation. The superintendent tells me it will continue for the benefit of all students to understand different points of view.
We lift up those perspectives and be able to have a broader community conversation about how these events are impacting our Black students.
The superintendent tells me they also had programming about race that was age appropriate for students who were in 2nd through 5th grades today as well.
Romney, did the superintendent say if there was anything that stood out to him from the students in this discussion?
He did. He said there were many valid points made by the students, but the one thing that he would really take away is about responsibility and how these kids said they want to keep up their fire and their energy so that when they become adults, they can make sure they continue to address these issues.
All right, Romney Smith, thank you very much. Betsy?
Coming up here on What's New, he's a Cleveland boy who's playing for the Kansas City Chiefs. Travis Kelce's high school football coach shares what he thinks is going through Kelce's mind as he prepares to play his hometown team. Then Kim Kardashian is getting back to business despite divorce rumors, her new business venture. We're also going to keep you updated with what's going on with the forecast. And Matt, what do you have for us?
Well, I've got more clouds for you, Betsy. Live look at CSU cam right now. We've got the stubborn January cloud cover around here. We are seeing it start to erode from the west, so I think we get some sunshine in the forecast. The other thing we're watching, there is a mess out towards the Pacific Ocean. All of this will come east as we go through the upcoming days. We'll take that forecast through your weekend and beyond coming up.
Alrighty, check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Brandon's microphone one more time.
Welcome back to What's New. Sunday's playoff game between Kansas City and Cleveland, of course, for a trip to the AFC Championship game. And for most Northeast Ohioans, this is a no-brainer. You know who you're going to be rooting for. But it is not that simple for everyone in town, especially the man who used to coach this guy, Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce. Brandon Simmons joins us now with more on the coach torn between the Browns and the Chiefs. And Brandon, picking loyalties sometimes can be a really difficult thing to do.
Definitely difficult. I suppose this is a good problem to have if you're Mike Jones. I mean, it's a win-win situation for him no matter who wins. Jones used to coach the Cleveland Heights Tiger High School team from 2000 to 2007. Now, during that time, as you said, he had the pleasure of coaching the Kelce brothers. Younger brother Travis Kelce was a phenomenal quarterback at the time, and eventually he went on to the NFL where he plays tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, for Jones, it's a tough decision. Do you choose to go with the hometown team that you've known and loved for so many years as they make a run at history, or do you go with the guy you helped develop into the man he is today?
It's hard to have an allegiance to anybody when you have one of your players out there, you know, and so your player, you know, is dear and near to your heart, and you always want to see them do well.
Now I can understand the predicament Coach Jones is in. Travis is a guy who loves Cleveland and Cleveland Heights, always gives shout-outs to our city as often as he can, and he gives back to the community both here and in Kansas City. But, Jay, you and I both know when he gets on the field, the gloves come off and he holds nothing back. We've seen him catch passes in our end zone. He flexes his muscles right after, does his little dance. And for that reason, I'm going to forget all the good things he does, all the good things I know about Kelce, and root for my Cleveland Browns because it's a tough decision for me as I'm not that connected to the guy. So Kelce already has some Super Bowl hardware, all those good things. I'm thinking he needs to just give us a chance, take a step back, and let us win for once.
Yeah, that was going to be my suggestion to Coach Jones. Travis has his Super Bowl ring from last year. Let the city get a chance, right? Now, the Chiefs beat the Browns 37-21. That was in November of 2018. Kelce had 7 catches for 99 yards and 2 touchdowns in that game. Another Cleveland native, Brandon, Kareem Hunt, scored the Chiefs' other 2 touchdowns. He had 141 yards on 18 touches that day. But remember, the Chiefs would release Hunt just 2 games after that because of that video that emerged of his altercation with a woman at a Cleveland hotel. So for Kareem Hunt, who of course is now with the Browns, he says Sunday's game against his old team is personal. This is going to be a very interesting watch.
We can all understand that. I mean, definitely a personal matchup for a lot of people involved. And there are a couple other Clevelanders in the game, too, besides Hunt and Kelce. I think Frank Clark's still playing and Hitchens as well for the Chiefs. So it's a big game for everybody.
I hope Kelce catches 15 passes, maybe scores a touchdown, but still comes out on the losing side. That would be a win-win for all of us, I think. Brandon, thanks. We appreciate it.
All right. Well, I wish we could, talk like things here with the weather forecast. But all I have for you, Matt Wentz, is the fact that our sunset time is now at 5:20. Woo!
Yeah, Betsy, you know what? You take every little bit you could get this time of year. You're absolutely right, though. I was actually looking at the sunset times, and I realized that I'm like, 5:20 already. Even though we've been talking about this over the last couple weeks, we're going to be approaching 6 o'clock here in about a month. So bring it on. Bring on that daylight, right? And Betsy, I'm glad you said that because this will be a perfect transition because the added daylight that we get and the more sunlight helps to erode this stuff. We've got the stubborn low-level clouds just across Ohio. Look at this clearing now in Dayton down towards Cincinnati. This is all bright blue skies back towards Chicago as well. But the clouds are just hanging on here. They're slowly eroding. What happens at the nighttime, though, when you lose that solar heating, it tends to expand again. So we're going to go mostly cloudy tonight. Tomorrow is the day that I think will bring out a little bit of sunshine across the area. We're going to go with sun breaks, as you'll see here in the forecast. But much of the country is quiet and way above average. temperatures 20, 30 degrees above average up in the northern plains. You can see down towards the south where they had their snow yesterday is quieted down, but the west is where it's at right now. This continues to track eastward. They are just getting pummeled across the Pacific Northwest. We're talking feet of snow, some locations up over 100 inches in the mountains with more to come. And look at this moisture just aimed at them. This is called the atmospheric river of moisture. It's about 2,500 mile stretch of rain, wind, and then that turns to snow as you get towards the upper elevations there in the Pacific Northwest. Just a mess out there. So it's certainly not quiet across the entire country. But for us, we're going to watch the mild air as that system moves in. This mild air will head in our direction here. So we've got the cold conditions now, but that will change here. Expecting 40s for highs starting tomorrow and going through Thursday, even Friday morning. Your National Design Mart Hour by Hour forecast. Yeah, clouds hanging on. May see some breaks overnight tonight. They'll be confined to the southwestern half of the viewing area. Temperatures back into the 20s. Tomorrow, though, look at this. The push of wind out ahead of that system, perhaps bringing some sunshine in waves tomorrow. I think we'll still hang on to some clouds, but temperatures, we're going to go out cautiously optimistic, we'll call it. Should make the low 40s tomorrow. You can see tomorrow evening the clouds kind of returning, more of a high cloud, kind of veiled sunshine kind of opportunity tomorrow afternoon, and then tomorrow evening clouds building back in. But what happens with the system out west? Here's the latest model run. You can see that area low pressure heads on out into the plain states. Here it comes down towards the south. This will spin up a pretty elongated area of low pressure. Will likely still start as some rain on Friday morning. That'll transition to some rain and snow later in the day Friday. And then for the weekend, nothing particularly organized. Just some snow showers Saturday, snow showers Sunday, snow showers Monday, snow showers Tuesday. Pretty much a very fast-moving weather system around here that we're really not going to get rid of anytime soon. In terms of snowfall, yeah, we've got some snow coming. No big snows on the way as it looks right now, but overall, we're going to be dealing with a much snowier pattern. Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast, 40s the next couple days. There's our snows we go through the weekend, and it will remain scattered after that. Betsy?
So in other words, January. That's what we're going to have in the forecast.
That's
it. Sounds good. All right, Matt. Thank you. Jay?
I'd rather have July, but I know that's not an option. All right, next on What's New, the legacies of Chadwick Boseman and Alex Trebek still very much alive. How the two were honored this week. Straight ahead in Pop Break. Then, in our Worth the Watch video, what this dog has up its sleeve is sure to make you smile.
In today's Pop Break, we are honoring two legends who passed away in 2020. Plus, Kim K is pushing forward despite divorce rumors. Kira Cotton breaks it all down for us in today's Pop Break.
As the world continues to mourn the loss of Chadwick Boseman, his legacy lives on. During last night's Gotham Awards, his widow Simone tearfully accepted the tribute prize on his behalf. Speaking out for the first time, she shared touching words directly to her husband.
I am so proud of you. Keep shining your light on us.
Moving on to another legacy of a legend that we lost in 2020, Jeopardy has resumed filming, and its first guest host, Ken Jennings, paid his respects to Alex Trebek during his debut last night. In a moving speech ahead of welcoming the contestants, Jennings reflected on Trebek's perfectly executed career of nearly 40 years.
Let's be totally clear, no one will ever replace the great Alex Trebek, but we can honor him by playing the game he loved.
And it's back to business as usual for Kim Kardashian. After rumors of an impending divorce from husband Kanye West made headlines last week, the 40-year-old socialite and entrepreneur returned to Instagram yesterday to announce the expansion of her shapewear line, Skims. In her post, she wrote, "We're changing the game and launching gravity-defying tights and hosiery solutions that sculpt, smooth, and never lose their shape." Now, despite the upcoming launch, many pointed out that in the photos, Kim isn't wearing her wedding ring. As you may remember, back in 2016, Kim was robbed at gunpoint for her jewelry collection. And ever since then, she's been weary about posting her bling online. So the lack of ring really doesn't tell us much about where she and Kanye stand. And with no official divorce papers filed, we'll just have to wait and see. Back to you guys.
Interesting.
Jay, having a career in television, you know very well how very keen and how very closely people watch every little thing on television. So, you know, don't read into what you see all the time, friends. It doesn't always line up with what you're thinking.
Okay, now I have a question for you. I guess it's fashion related, and I hope you have the answer. Okay. So Skims, is that just her version of Spanx?
I'm so proud of you. You know Spanx.
Am I right? Isn't that the same thing?
It's just about,
So it's her
pretty
twist
much
on
it. Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
The name's catchy, Skims.
It is, and it's to each their own. I've not been known to turn down a nice pair of Spanx or Skims or whatever myself. Hey, when you got to fit in a dress, you got to fit in a dress. Sometimes you got to bring out the big dogs.
Yeah, girls got to do what a girl's got to do. You know, that's how it goes.
You boys don't even know.
No, I don't. I'm glad I don't. All right, it is time for our Worth the Watch video. Buckle up. This is good. When it's too cold to play outside, you turn the house into a playground. Meet Max the Husky. He decided to turn his living room, Betsy, into an obstacle course. And look at him go. I love it. That's what happens when you can't I'm sorry,
funny.
Betsy. That's what happens when you can't get your dog enough energy outside. You know, snow, cold.
Right.
So they gotta burn it somewhere. Max has the answer.
Interestingly, that is exactly what my 5-year-old Violet does. She definitely, we have some issues. We need to get one of those indoor trampoline things for her so she can just bounce and do whatever. Because, man, there are days that we just, like, literally tell her to go outside and run around the house a couple times. So
I remember the feeling. Yeah. Good old Max. I love it.
You do.
Get some video of that, by the way,
cute.
of Violet bouncing sofa to sofa. I would love to see that.
I'll try. She'll narrate it all. We're in the narrating phase right now. So everything is narrated or she's singing exactly what she is doing all the time. I'll try and find some video of that. Still ahead for us here on What's New, an incredible redemption story. One local prisoner had an idea that ended up helping some Ohioans who are struggling financially during the pandemic. Very excited about this story. Then girls and the gridiron. More and more women are watching football. Why is this so surprising to people? But we have a story on how it's changing the game for advertisers and sports franchises. And who wouldn't want to know what their fur baby is thinking? A lot of times you may think you know, but there's a new device that allows you to detect their emotions. We'll be right back.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Welcome back, everybody, to What's New. I'm Betsy Kling, broadcasting from home, and my partner, Jay Crawford, is back in the WKYC studios.
Betsy, I'm not going to lie. We miss you here, man. We miss you. It's just, it's not the
thanks.
same vibe. I'm the only person, for the most part, that's ever around here, and I keep looking around. Was Betsy back yet? No Betsy, but soon, I'm told. So we miss you here. We miss you.
I'm trying to get back in there. I understand we have plexiglass dividers between all of our desks. Now, I think that is the closest I will ever get to actually having an office. So I'm going to embrace it.
It's an invisible office is what I call it. But it's fancy, and it's here waiting for you. So hurry back.
Thanks.
Welcome to the second half hour of What's New. Ohio State just trounced last night by Alabama, and I can honestly say it was made easier because of the Browns' win Sunday. It actually helped me, and I know many others, deal with that. That was ugly. Yikes. We begin at 5:30 with three things you need to know. First up, the FBI sent a memo to law enforcement agencies across the country warning about possible armed protests at all 50 state capitals. This letter warns that they could begin Saturday and run through January 20th, which, of course, is the day of the inauguration. The memo states that one group threatened to travel to D.C. if President Trump is removed from office under the 25th Amendment. And speaking of that, tonight the House will consider a resolution that calls on Vice President Mike Pence to invoke the 25th Amendment. If he does, President Trump would be removed from office before January 20th, but there's no indication Pence plans to do so. Depending on tonight's outcome, House Democrats plan to proceed with a vote on an impeachment measure Wednesday morning. Meanwhile, President Trump spoke to reporters today saying he does not want any violence. He added that his speech on the day of the riots was totally appropriate and that the impeachment proceeding against him is a continuing witch hunt.
Well, back to the gridiron. The Browns are just a few days away from their next playoff game. We are so excited about that. And many of the fans that are going to be cheering them on are women. I just don't understand why this is so surprising. But keep in mind, female fans are watching the NFL now in record numbers. Lena Lai reports on the changing face of football fans.
Browns fans are loud, proud, and increasingly female.
Some people love music. Some people love cars. I'm a huge Browns fanatic. I wear my Browns clothes 365 days a year.
The Cleveland Browns Women's Facebook group is unapologetically for women only, for those tired of men acting like we don't know anything about football. Members who sport their Browns fandom with permanent ink of their favorite player when who knows how long they'll be around. These are fans for life.
We mouthed back and we finally just got tired of it, and we know what we're talking about. We don't need to always be argued saying, oh, women don't know football.
And look out, guys. More women are joining the NFL coaching ranks. The Browns' chief of staff, Callie Brownson, became the first woman to coach a position group in an NFL game, filling in as tight ends coach.
In particular, the ladies that I met.
But the stereotype is hard to change. Just last month, NBC announcer Chris Collinsworth faced backlash.
They had really specific questions about the game. I was like, wow, you're just blown away by
it. Prompted an apology from Collinsworth, who said he was trying to compliment fans, not insult them. But female football fans say no need to be politically correct, just correct, and make room on the couch.
I think some of us know more than men, but whatever.
Lena Lai, 3 News.
I think it's pretty sweet that the ladies are stepping up and not necessarily, with the big chip on the shoulder, but just saying, hey, we get it. We understand it. We know the game of football, too.
Yeah. It's interesting because the 16 years I worked at ESPN, we would get this huge research packet every year, and it would show who watches what and, break it down by gender and race and state and everything else. And every year, Betsy, the size of the female audience for NFL games got bigger and bigger and bigger. And the interesting thing, and I just read another study that was released in October, and what was fascinating to me was the only real difference between men and women is that men consider themselves to be more diehard fans. So about 36% of men call themselves diehard, where only 14% of women call themselves diehard. But either way, They're watching. The women are watching, and the advertisers absolutely have noticed, and a lot of the ads are geared to women.
That's right. And earlier this season, the Browns and the Washington football team made history with 2 female coaches and a female official all on the same field for the same game. Callie Brownson is the Browns' chief of staff, you may remember.
Yeah, and Betsy, currently there are 8 female coaches in the NFL. And how about this? 6 of them were part of teams that made the playoffs. In fact, 4 are still remaining in the divisional round, including Callie Brownson with the Browns. Female fandom on the rise, and females involved in the sport also big time on the rise, Betsy.
Definitely. Well, I think it's kind of interesting. You can definitely draw some comparisons between something like fantasy football and soap operas. So, we're all on the same level together, everybody. It's all about the players and the storylines and what's going to happen.
That's right. And you got to watch week to week because you never know what's going to happen. Coming up next on What's New, 1 year ago today, he became the head coach of our Cleveland Browns. Now he's talking about Super Bowl odds. What? His take on the team advancing to the big game. And I love this story. As a dog owner, I have often wondered what my dogs are thinking in any given moment. Well, supposedly there's a new piece of technology that claims you will be able to tell your dog's mood. I've got to see it. Color me skeptical. Matt, what's going on outside?
Well, hey there, Jay. We'll take a live look at CSU Cam right now. Still hanging on to those clouds, but notice it's a little bit brighter than yesterday. That's because we've got a later sunset and thinning clouds. But our big story is going to be goodbye to the cold, hello to some warmer temperatures over the next couple days, and then things change. We'll take you through the forecast coming up.
Hey, pop over there. It is Tuesday, January 12th, and Cleveland's head coach, Kevin Stefanski, thinks that we have good odds of going to the Super Bowl. Okay. Cool.
All right, time for weather. Matt Wentz joins us again. I'm ready to see one of Matt Wentz's trademarked weather word jump kicks. Today, your word is nauseous because, Matt, I'm pretty sure that's how both of us were feeling last night watching the Buckeyes get crushed by Alabama. It's been a rough day.
Yeah. Yeah, Jay, it was pretty rough last night. I think the deprivation of sleep from the Browns game the night before helped. You know, fourth quarter opened up. I knew Alabama had it in their hands. I made a whole pizza and ate it myself. So who's the real winner last night?
You.
Who is the real winner? I felt awful this morning. We'll get that into the forecast for sure. Let's talk temperatures. It's another chilly one outside. 30s, Jefferson, Ashtabula. See the 20s smattered around northeast Ohio. You factor in the wind. We've got feels like temperatures in the teens once again. So yeah, it's chilly. But looking at the country, we've got some of the coldest air right now. Look at the warm up and what a difference some sunshine makes. They've got it for areas of southern Illinois down towards Indiana. They were in the 40s today. This is what we're hoping to get into tomorrow if we can erode this low cloud layer. But even a look way up in northern Canada, this is kind of meh cold for them. I mean, they could be a lot colder this time of year. So the cold air that we've got really isn't that cold that we're going to be tapping into the system next week. And so we can track that. You can see, yeah, the frigid air is up in Canada as it belongs this time of year. But the system that we're talking later this week will drag some down. But look how it doesn't really come into Ohio. It'll be just north of here. So we're going to see temperatures in that pattern change drop back into the 30s for many days. But overall, that bitterly cold Canadian air is going to stay up towards the north for now, and perhaps some signs next week that it dislodges into Canada, and then we'll start to talk the possibility of a cold front bringing it down. But until then, we've got just January-like weather. Look at how much of the country's quiet right now. The exception Pacific Northwest just getting pummeled with rain and snow and wind out there. They've got numerous watches, warnings, flood advisories, over 100 inches of snow in the mountains. This is all wind. This system will become quite a wind maker as it enters the central plains. But for us, it'll help pump some of this warmth our way and hopefully erode our clouds. So let's get into the details, shall we, with your National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast. You can see the clouds hanging tough tonight. Yeah, they're thinning a little bit. We'll be back near 30 degrees, upper 20s for some, pretty much where we are right now. Tomorrow, though, we get a little push of southerly wind. That ought to bring some sun peaks to northeast Ohio. Temperatures in the 40s tomorrow. It will come with some breezy conditions, though, so that wind chill will still be a factor, but a little bit warmer tomorrow, and I think more of the same on Thursday. In regards to the storm system, though, here's how it's going to play out. As it moves in, boy, this low is really going to ramp up. If you stare at it long enough, you'll be very nauseous looking at it. But you can see we start as rain, changing over to a little bit of wet snow as we get into Friday night. And then for the weekend, we've got multiple kind of periodic snow shower chances around here, and then perhaps more on Sunday. Overall, we're dealing with a pattern that's going to be pretty snowy around here. And again, I already said nauseous, but this forecast will make you nauseous as we got it into your Friday and Saturday. So here's your kick for you, Jay. There you go. Here's our temperature drop on Friday. Then we're back with the snow shower activity Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. No big snows in the forecast with your Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast. But overall, Betsy, it's going to be a little bit more wintry around here than where we've been over the last couple weeks.
I see what you did there, Matt. Good job. You got it in. That was a tricky one for sure. But yeah, all of us a little queasy about that one. All right. Good job. Good job. Thank you. Well, it's time now to see what's clicking in Cleveland. And for that, we bring in our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. And Stephanie, it's Victory Tuesday.
It is Victory Tuesday, Betsy, and the trash talk continues. The Cleveland Browns are responding to one specific Steeler. Remember, Steelers wide receiver Chase Claypool said the Browns will get clapped by Kansas City, while Jarvis Landry agrees with former Steeler Ryan Clark that it doesn't matter because the Steelers lost. Defensive end Adrian Claiborne says Claypool should just enjoy his vacation already. And linebacker Sione Takitaki thinks Claypool is funny. On 92.3 The Fan, he said Cleveland got the last laugh with the win. Now you have to hear what Fox Sports host Colin Cowherd, who is a big Baker Mayfield critic, by the way, said about the betting odds for Sunday's game.
Kansas City is going to be rusty. When's the last time Kansas City beat anybody by 10 points? I think Cleveland is young. They're going to be healthy. They're energized. They're confident. They're finely tuned. And I think Kansas City is going to find out very quickly that much time off, especially for Mahomes, is problematic. And I think the number is way out of whack. I think it's a 5 or a 6.5, 6.5 maybe max. I love Cleveland plus 10.
You know who else likes the Browns playoff odds but for the Super Bowl? Head coach Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah, I mean, we're one of 8 teams. I'm not a math major, but I like, we'll take those chances. And that's what the guys understand. This is the fun part about the playoffs. every game gets bigger and bigger, and the challenge gets bigger and bigger, and got a big challenge this week playing the Super Bowl champs.
And today marks Stefanski's 1-year anniversary with the team. I think we can say it's going pretty well. You know, I have consistently been predicting a Browns Super Bowl appearance since the Steelers started losing, Jay and Betsy, so I'm with Stefanski on this one. I like our odds of getting there.
I do too. I just want to hang. Like I just want to have that feeling like I had last Sunday that what's happening. I want to be able to tweet that again. What is going on here?
Yeah, and that feeling gets better with each round. When, you know, if you win in this round, you make it to the AFC Championship game, then you're one of 4 teams. And if you're counting at home, that's a 25% chance if all things were equal. This week, if all things were equal, we have a 12.5% chance. I'll take it. It's better than the Steelers.
And I think it's just great. That's right. Just great to be talking about going. I'm happy for that.
Yep. Let's go. Let's go. Let's keep winning. All right. For anyone that's ever owned a dog, I know that's a lot of you. You've probably wondered many times, what is he or she thinking right now? Well, now there's a new piece of technology that is close to allowing us to do that. A South Korean startup developed a dog collar called Pet Plus. Here's how it works. It monitors a dog's bark, and it can detect up to 5 emotions. It will tell the owner if their dog is happy, relaxed, anxious, angry, or sad. It can also track a dog's physical activity and when it needs to rest. The collar uses voice recognition technology and a smartphone app. Betsy, the collars start at $99. I don't know. I don't know. I know there are differences between dogs' barks, and I can tell them usually with my dogs, but I don't know if a collar can do that. I don't know.
Well, if you've ever seen the movie Up, the animated film Up, Doug the dog has a collar, but it actually speaks for him.
Yeah.
And it is quite fine, squirrel. Like, it's just amazing the way that they captured that. So I can only imagine how owners out there would want that, just in case, just in case there's something they don't know about their dog. But
yeah,
I'm a little skeptical of it too.
Now, if they ever develop that collar where you can put it on and your dog can speak, I'm all in on that one. I'm not holding my breath.
Until you want to take it off at the same time, for sure. Okay. Well, still ahead on what's new, prisoners giving back. This is a really special story. When one local inmate saw how the pandemic was hurting Ohioans financially, he stepped up to help, and we're going to share that story with you. Then a local therapist is helping COVID patients connect with loved ones while they recover inside the hospital. We'll have more when we come back.
Yeah, I got you. Oh, shit. Check 1 2 3. 1 2 3. Check 1 2. What's that? Well, Adam told me I should try to flip the phone around to use the better camera instead of the front-facing camera.
As you can imagine, we do get a lot of mail here at WKYC, and through the pandemic, you may have heard me talk about it, I've occasionally chipped in to help out in the mailroom. Not too long ago, we received a letter from a local prison that wasn't addressed to anyone in particular, so of course I opened it, and I found out we had a very unexpected story, an inspiring story that was delivered right to us.
To whom it may concern, my name is Charles Hopper Jr. I am currently incarcerated at Richland Correctional Institution.
And so began a very unexpected letter to 3 News, written by Charles Hopper, currently serving time for assault after getting into a fight at a party in 2017.
I watch WKYC TV quite often and follow the pandemic and its effects on the world. I possess the longing to help, a responsibility to my fellow man and woman. Due to my current situation, I faced obvious restrictions and obstacles, but I had an idea.
After seeing stories of so many who were struggling and depending on strained food banks because of the pandemic, he wanted to help those on the outside.
I knew that the only way that we would be able to help was probably to raise money.
So he started fundraising on the inside.
I personally went around my dorm to each individual person and asked them to donate whatever they could. I asked for $1, but I told them whatever they could do would be helpful.
And for many, it was a sacrifice. The inside economy is tight.
The average person in here would receive about $18 a month.
In prison, everyone has a job. From maintenance to food service, apprenticeships, and vocational training, inmates can spend what little money they earn on precious phone time, stamps, food, and other things for themselves. But the donations for the food bank poured in. One prisoner gave $200 from his savings. And fellow inmate Rory Spells joined Charles to help raise money.
Considering everything that's going on right now in the world, it just felt like didn't feel like it was the right thing to do. I was happy to be able to do something to give back to the community. I wanted to show people, just because you made some bad decisions, don't make you a bad person.
The staff at Richland, who gave permission and support to the effort, says they're not surprised by the charity of the prison population.
There are good people everywhere, even in prison. There are people in here who want to help the community and give back to the very communities that they may have harmed.
And what they gave can help many.
No matter what happens to you in your life, no matter how far you may fall, there's always going to be someone that's willing to meet you there and help you find your way back.
Dan Flowers is the president and CEO of the Akron-Canton Regional Food Bank. That's where Charles chose to send the prison's contribution.
From their current circumstances in prison, they reached out to us and they made a donation. You know they're not rich there. You know, it takes forever to find resources and accumulate any amount of money while you're in prison.
And every bit added up. An offering from the inside to help those on the outside. $1,595. Enough for 6,400 meals. That's enough to feed a family of 4 for an entire year.
I think this gift is testimony to the possibility for redemption that exists in everyone's life.
Charles says he never dreamed they'd be able to help so many.
I'm overwhelmed, to be honest with you. I mean, these gentlemen in here, for not having what they had, they gave a lot, and they made all this possible. I want people to never forget the impact that acts of kindness can have on others. Everyone at some point in their life needs help, whether it's from family, friends, or even strangers. And that's nothing to be ashamed of. And I just hope that everybody out there, the next time they see somebody in need, is willing to pick them up instead of turn a blind eye.
I'll be honest, we get quite a few letters from those who are incarcerated that we usually refer to, quite honestly, as jail mail. We do keep track of them. And in all my years, I have never seen one like that. Jay.
Betsy, next on What's New, a local therapist found a unique way to help COVID patients connect with their loved ones. And it's time for our pop quiz today. Justin Timberlake's mom temporarily became the guardian of which celebrity? Was it Lance Bass, Britney Spears, or Ryan Gosling? The answer coming up.
Hey there, mic check 1 2 1 2. We're doing the 6 o'clock. I've got a VOSOT live talking about Shaker schools.
Mic check, Monica. Hello, hello, hello. 1 2 3 4. Hello.
Check 1 2 3. 1 2 3. Check 1 2. 1 2 3. Will in Brecksville at his house. Thank you.
I just said, Check 1 2 3 4 5. Brandon's microphone. Putting it back on. Check 1 2 3 4 5. Brandon's microphone.
Thank you. Thanks, Meg. Hi, Al. Yes, testing 1 2 3 4. Hello, hello.
Well, I would have missed the pop quiz. I would have guessed Britney Spears for sure, but the answer was actually Ryan Gosling, Betsy. This is an interesting story. Justin Timberlake told Ellen DeGeneres that the pair had 6 months left of filming for the Mickey Mouse Club when Gosling's mom had to go back to Canada for her job. So Timberlake's mom took Gosling in.
Had no idea.
Yeah, I didn't either. Interesting story. All right, today's Show Us Something Good comes from our friends at the Cleveland Clinic. Occupational therapist Carrie Sweeney is caring for COVID-19 patients there. She realized that many of the patients are admitted without their phone chargers, and that can be a problem, particularly given the fact that visitor restrictions keep folks from bringing them items they need, so it's hard to get one from family and friends. So she put out a call for chargers on social media to her coworkers and her friends, and she's currently collected more than 150 chargers, Betsy, so patients can use them to charge their phones to stay in contact with friends and family. How about that?
Yeah, as you upgrade your phone, maybe that's something you can consider, finding out if you can donate the cord for your old phone.
We all have a lot of old ones laying around.
All right, well, thanks everybody for watching What's New Today. What matters most